So the first topic which we'll be covering is 5G new radio timing unit and cyclic prefix. So let us start with timing unit in 5G. So what is timing unit? So timing unit is nothing but the sampling time. So whenever you do, you might have heard sampling rate and sampling time. So basically timing unit is nothing but the sampling time which is there in the 5G. And if you look at 3GPP specification, which I have mentioned in this slide, this one, 38.211. So it has given a formula for timing unit where TC is the timing unit and delta F max is the maximum subcarrier spacing which has been defined, and NF is your the FFT size. So when you do FFT and IFFT, you take a particular size of a FFT, and this depends upon how many number of subcarriers you are having. So this could be 1024, 2048, or 4096 depending upon the subcarrier spacing which you have. So let's calculate. I'll request all of you to kindly help me. So in 5G, for the purpose of calculating timing unit, delta F max, that is the subcarrier spacing, the maximum subcarrier spacing has been taken as 480. So although while discussing numerology, so numerology 4 was only 240 kilohertz, but for the purpose of timing, they have taken as a 480, double of 240. So maybe in future subcarrier spacing of 480 will also be used, that indicates. And the maximum, the FFT size maximum which has been taken here is 4096. As I said, it depends upon how many number of subcarriers we are using. So suppose we are using 1600 number of subcarriers. In that case, our FFT size of 2048 is sufficient. If it is suppose 700 number of subcarriers, then FFT size of 1024 would be sufficient. So let us look at what is the maximum number of subcarrier spacing in 5G as defined in this document. So let us take example of 400 megahertz channel bandwidth. Suppose if we have channel bandwidth of 400 megahertz, and we are aware that in 400 megahertz our numerology 3 is used. So uh, numerology 3 can have bandwidth up to 400 megahertz. So that is 120 kilohertz, right? So if you divide this 400 megahertz by 120 kilohertz, you'll get 3333 in a very rough idea, although you have to subtract the guard band. So to support 333 subcarriers, FFT size required will be 4096, right? So this you can calculate for all the bandwidth, and what you find is the maximum subcarrier which can be used in 5G as of now is around 3000, right? So that's why they are taking 4096 FFT size for the purpose of calculating timing unit. Let me remove this. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, good morning. Please go ahead. Do you have any question? Yeah. Yeah, so normally, yes, you are right, but FFT, you can take any other values. FFT size can be, you are right that 2 to the power, but generally what they are using, if you look at 1024 or 2048 or 4096, in between numbers they are not using, right? So in our case, yes, you're right. So there also I'll just calculate and let you know how they have arrived at. So I'll just explain you about 4G also. I have that 4G timing unit also to compare and also calculate a value which is called K, constant K, right? So so can somebody calculate and tell me what the value will come of the TC, that is the timing unit in 5G? Any of you? It's a simple calculation, 480 into 10 to power 3 into 4096, and it is a 1 oblique these numbers. It will come in microsecond. Can somebody tell me that what it is, either in the chat box or otherwise? Anyone? Quickly, please. 5.08. Somebody said. So you have to calculate that in microsecond, and 5.08 is perhaps not correct. You're near, but so this is zero point 0.5 in nanosecond, because uh, the value is quite low. So it is 0.509 nanosecond, right? Now let us do it for LTE. So in LTE, as we know that only one subcarrier spacing is used, that is 15. So we are taking delta F as 15 into 10 to power 3, and NREF we are taking 2048. Why we are taking 2048? Because in LTE, somebody also asked this question, the maximum bandwidth was 20 megahertz, right? And if you divide this by subcarrier spacing of 15 kilohertz, I think you'll get around, so normally 18 megahertz is used after deducting those guide bands. So it comes to around 1200 something, right? 1200. Since it is more than 1024, so the next step of FFT size is 2048. Is it clear? I think someone asked this question. Okay, so in LTE, the maximum channel bandwidth which can be used is 20 megahertz, right? And the subcarrier spacing which is used is 15 kilohertz. So if you divide 20 megahertz by 15 kilohertz, you'll get the maximum number of subcarriers, right? So this will be around 1200. It will be between 1200 to 1300 somewhere, right? As since it is, so FFT size is what? FFT size I can take is 1024, 2048, and so on. So since it is more than 1024, so I have to take this 2048 FFT size for calculating the timing unit. So that's why this 2048 is taken. Right, right. So let me erase this thing. Okay, so just it is 20 megahertz divided by 15 kilohertz. Thing else. Okay, okay. So your question is that here we are taking 480. So basically this is delta F max. So in this formula here also it is max only, delta F. So basically in 5G, for purpose of calculating timing unit, the highest subcarrier spacing which they have assumed is 480. Although in release 15 and 16, they have talked about numerology up to numerology 4, which goes up to 240 kilohertz. So this indicates that uh, going forward, they may come out with a subcarrier spacing of 480 kilohertz also. So that while designing the timing unit, they have taken this so that in future this is not required to be changed, right? So that's why they have taken 480 in advance. Okay, FFT size. So basically, the example which I gave. So for example, if you remember my earlier session, let us take. So for you have to just see how many maximum number of subcarrier spacing I can have. So accordingly, I have to take the highest FFT size for the purpose of timing unit. So do you recall that in 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing, what is the maximum bandwidth we can use? Do you recall that? It was 50 megahertz. It was 50 megahertz. So here also, if you divide 50 megahertz by 15 kilohertz, you are again getting around 3000 subcarriers, right? Similarly, if you look at 60 kilohertz subcarrier spacing, the maximum channel bandwidth which can be used with 60 kilohertz is 200 megahertz. If you recall my table in the earlier presentation, you can open that. So if you divide this 200 by 60, it is again 333. So maximum number of subcarrier in every numerology is coming out to be around 3000 subcarriers. So, so to support these number of subcarriers, I definitely have to take 4096 FFT size. Is it clear now? Okay, great. Okay, so I request that somebody calculates timing unit of LT because everything is given. And the chat box you please write. So you have to just calculate. This is the calculation. Yes, very right. Vinay ji, it is 32.55 nanosecond. You are right. So now we have to see that there is a value called K constant, which is nothing but this divided by this. Ts divided by Tc. Can somebody calculate what it is? We'll be using this K value in our subsequent understanding. So can somebody divide this 32.55 by 0.509 and let me know what it is? Yes, very right. So what does this mean? Can somebody tell me that when I am saying Ts by Tc is 64, so what does this mean 64? So basically, as I said, this timing unit is nothing but sampling time, granularity in terms of time. So that means our 5G new radio is 64 times granular than LTE in terms of timing, right? Our 5G new radio is 64 times more granular than LTE. So that is the meaning, right? And please repeat. Please repeat. So it is not in terms of scheduling. Scheduling depends upon the slot size, which is the lowest slot size is as we had calculated 0.0625 microsecond. So that would be the slot scheduling time, right? And if you use the mini slot, then part of that can be. This is the sampling. How fast you have to sample a signal so that you are able to decode, right? So that is it is right. Okay, fine. Okay, so now in the same document, they have calculated our frame size and subframe size using the timing unit. And this is the formula. This is again taken from the specification document. So they have just calculated the frame size using this formula and subframe size using this formula. And if you calculate, it is coming to be 10 millisecond, the frame size, and 1 millisecond as a subframe size, which we had understood while going through the frame structure. So those 10 millisecond and 1 millisecond is coming from this itself. Okay. Now let us look at cyclic prefix. What is cyclic prefix and how this timing unit will come in picture, we will understand. So can somebody tell me that what is inter-symbol interference and how it relates to cyclic prefix? What is inter-symbol interference? Any of you would like to answer? Yeah, very right. So very right. So that can be explained using this picture. So basically, when transmission is happening, suppose this is your transmitter and this is where signals are being received. So there can be multiple paths. Say this is path 1, this is path 2 reflected from a building, and this is path 3 again reflected from some structure. So the same signal will be received by this receiver from three different directions, and since the all the three directions are having different distance, right, in terms of traveling of the signal from transmitter to receiver, so they will be received at different point of time. For example, if you take path 1, there are, suppose there are four symbols, symbol A, B, C, D, which are getting transmitted sequentially. So what will happen is that your symbol A, suppose being received at this point of time, but with path 2 it may be received slightly delayed here, and in path 3 again it will be a delay. So by the time the symbol A is being received, just if you draw up, symbol B has also been started transmission on from the transmitter side. So at that point of time, from path 1 even B you will be able to receive. So what will happen, there will be an inter-symbol interference during this period. During this period, since A is also being received and B is also being received from some path, so there will be an inter-symbol interference. So how to avoid inter-symbol interference? Can somebody tell me that what is the way we can avoid inter-symbol interference? Yes. So if before I start symbol B, if I can add a guard time, say delta t here, before I can actually start. So after transmitting A, if I can add some guard time and then transmit B, those inter-symbol interference will not be coming. So basically it's nothing but some sort of guard time. But is a plain guard time enough? Let us answer that question subsequently. So what exactly is done, as we were explaining, to introduce some guard time? So actually guard time is not added, but we call it cyclic prefix. Suppose this particular signal is representing symbol 1. So what we do from last part of it, the guard time which we are considering, so from last part of the signal, we'll copy this part and add to the front. This one we are adding here, add to the front like this, right? This we are adding. So this much we are adding in symbol A1, right? So that's why we call it cyclic prefix, because we are adding last part into the front one. Similarly, in symbol 2 also, last part which is coming here, we are adding at this location. So this is kind of an extension in the original symbol. In all the symbols, we'll be adding this kind of cyclic prefix. So in a plain terms, you can see that if this much is your original symbol time, we are adding a cyclic prefix time. On that, we are just copying the some part of end of this symbol into before start of this symbol. So this is again same thing in a different diagram. My question is why why can't we just keep this portion as a blank itself, the guard time as we are talking about, not transmitting anything? Can we keep this as a blank? Can this CP be a blank instead of copying the data from the end part? Any of you would like to answer this or say no, don't know or something in the chat box? Hitesh ji, okay. So, okay. Anything else? Right, right. So, so yes, Soumya, you are very, very right and very brilliant answer. Basically, if you keep it a blank, your orthogonality will be disturbed. Just see. So, Soumya was just explaining that if you keep it blank, so, acha, sorry. Okay. Shall I call you Soma? Okay. So, yeah, thank you. So basically your orthogonality will be disturbed and there will be interference between one subcarrier to other subcarrier. To maintain orthogonality, the end part is being taken. And also, yes, somebody answered, Nitin was also trying to, Nitin or Hitesh, I don't know, somebody was trying to say that it makes our signal a bit robust in the sense that since the copy of the last part of the symbol is available here, so in case need be, that can also be used. So you are right in that sense. How much it is being used as part of the implementation, it depends upon the implementer. But yes, since last part of the data is here, in case there is some issue, you can use this. So robustness will definitely increase, at least theoretically. Okay, so now let us uh, look at that what kind of cyclic prefix which is used in 5G. So you just recall our numerologies. So basically numerology 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 corresponding to subcarrier spacing of 15 kilohertz, 30, 60, 120 and 240 kilohertz. So the cyclic prefix is called normal, 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 normal. In case of mu is equal to 2, this is normal as well as extended. I had explained this earlier in a very, very brief. Can some of you remember that why we are using extended cyclic prefix in case of 60 kilohertz subcarrier spacing or numerology 2, FR1 and 2, right? And when we use in FR1, that means we are trying to use it for a coverage purpose. So if you have a slightly larger coverage, you need to keep your cyclic prefix slightly bigger, right? So that's why we call it extended cyclic prefix in case of numerology 2 when it is being used in FR1 for a coverage purpose, right? Even in FR1, if you use it for a very, very small cell, then extended cyclic prefix may not be required. But generally in FR1, we'll be using it for more coverage compared to millimeter wave. So in that case, you will require the extended cyclic prefix, otherwise there will be an inter-symbol interference. Okay, so let us visualize this cyclic prefix. What is the size of cyclic prefix and where it is longer and where it is smaller. So you need to recall the frame structure. So frame structure, as we know that the subframe size is 1 millisecond for all numerologies. Frame size 10 millisecond, subframe size 1 millisecond, right? And how many slots are there in one subframe? For 15 kilohertz, it is one slot. For 30 kilohertz, it is two slots. For 60 kilohertz, it is four slots, and so on, 120 to 40. And every slot will have 14 number of symbols. 14 here it will be 2 slots means 14 into 2, 28 slots, and 4 slot means you will have 56 number of slots in 1 millisecond, right? So just see this picture of 15 kilohertz where I have 14 symbols from 0 to 13. So visually, if you see, the brown color is your symbol and gray color is your cyclic prefix. What we see that cyclic prefix at symbol 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 up to 13, except at symbol 7 and symbol 0 are of same duration. Just see. At symbol 0 and symbol 7, it is slightly bigger, right? So please don't confuse, this is not extended. This is called longer symbol and these are called normal symbols. Extended terminology we are using only for 60 kilohertz subcarrier spacing if used in FR1, right? Now let us look at cyclic prefix in case of 30 kilohertz. In 30 kilohertz, I have two slots in 1 millisecond. That means I have 28 symbols. So if you look at from 0 to 27 symbols in 1 millisecond subframe here. So here also what we see that at symbol 0 and at midpoint of subframe, my symbol slide is longer compared to all other symbols present here, right? And these all other symbols are equal in size at all places except at symbol 0 and at half of the subframe, right? So it will be, so since it is in start and so basically if you look at it has to interwork with even 4G. So 4G at 0.5 millisecond you have those slots, right? So slot size is 0.5. So maybe for interworking purpose they have kept slightly longer at the mid of the subframe because of that 4G interworking requirement perhaps. And since it is the starting symbol, so they are keeping slightly more. That's the explanation given in the document, right? But just see that now CP size has become less compared to subcarrier spacing of 15 kilohertz, right? So here just visually see your CP size is this much bigger. Here CP size is this much bigger. It is almost half. So if you have moved into the numerology, since number of slots has increased, your symbols duration has become half, your CP has also become half. But within that, you have slightly longer symbol at 0 and at midpoint of 1 millisecond. The next also, if you go to say 60 kilohertz where you have 56 symbol, 0 to 55, here also the symbol duration at, CP duration at symbol 0, this point, and at half of the subframe, that is 0.5 millisecond, you have slightly bigger CP compared to all other CPs present elsewhere, right? So I hope this much is clear to all of you. Any doubt or any question on to this slide? Because this is a building block to understand next of the calculations which we'll be doing. All because within the same time, so in earlier in 15 kilohertz, I had a slot size of 1 millisecond where I have 14 symbols. In the same 1 millisecond, in 30 kilohertz, I am accommodating 28 symbols. So my symbol duration will definitely become half, right? If my symbol duration is half, and as you know that these subcarrier spacings, higher subcarrier spacings are used for in the higher frequency band where the coverage is less, because CP size you have to design for the purpose of coverage. Higher the coverage, more the CP size. Lower the coverage, low the CP size. So if you move higher in numerology, those will be used in higher frequency band and they will provide lesser coverage. So lesser coverage means CP size has to be less. Is it clear to you? Okay, great. Fine. So let's move. So now it is your turn to calculate the cyclic prefix. Uh, so as we discussed that we have extended cyclic prefix for numerology 2 and normal cyclic prefix also for numerology 2. For others we have normal cyclic prefix and cyclic prefix for a longer duration. So that's why this three formula for 60 kilohertz. So this NCP is basically how many number of samples will be there for the cyclic prefix, right? How many samples would be required for the cyclic prefix? If you multiply that by timing unit, you will get the cyclic prefix duration, right? So the first formula is for extended cyclic prefix, which is for 60 kilohertz subcarrier spacing. Formula is 512 multiplied by k. K we had calculated as a constant 64 into 2 to the power minus mu. Mu is your numerology, right? The next formula for NCP is for symbols at 0 and half of the subframe. So which symbol number? Symbol number you can calculate by 7 into 2 to the power 0. Sorry, 2 to the power mu. For example, if it is numerology 0, it will come as a 7 because 2 to the power 0 is 1. If it's numerology 1, then it will be 7 into 2 to the power 1, that is 14. So just middle of the symbol. If it is 2, then 28. So basically, if you go higher in numerology, you are reaching to 0.5 millisecond time where whatever symbols are present, either it is 7 symbol or 14 symbols or 28 symbol or 56 symbol and so on. Let me erase the ink. And this formula gives you for L0 and at the middle. Here you are just from the above formula, you are just adding 16 into K, 16 into 64. And for normal cyclic prefix, which is not longer, not at 0 position and mid position, this is just 144K into 2 to the power minus mu. So I would request you all to please help me. And if you multiply whatever NCP is coming by TC, you'll get the time for the cyclic prefix, how much time or the guard time is required for the cyclic prefix. So let us take example. So I have given all the value. TC value is here. K value is here. Formula is above. Now you have to calculate cyclic prefix duration for subcarrier 15 kilohertz. 15 kilohertz is mu is equal to 0. And at symbol 0 and half frame, that means this one, you have to use this formula. Can somebody calculate and tell me what the NCP will be and what TCP will be? Please calculate. Somebody has asked question about 512 and 144. Yeah, this is taken from the 3GPP specification. So they have with they have derived it and they have put it as a formula. So I have not gone into detail that how they have derived, but this is the formula given in the 3GPP specification itself. Okay, so can somebody calculate the NCP for these two given parameters and then finally TCP? So please calculate 144 into 64 into 2 to the power minus 0 is 1. So 144 into 64 plus 16 into 64, that is the NCP for given this. Somebody, Sakti had said 10. I think just see 144 into 64 plus 16 into 64. It should come 10240. Yes, right. Somebody has very right, very right. So now calculate TCP. Just multiply this by 509. We'll get TCP, TC. That is the total time duration of cyclic prefix in case of mu is equal to 0. So it is not 5.2 microsecond is the right answer by Abhayji. Yes, very right. Okay, okay. Let's go to the next example. Next example we will do for this one. We will use this formula. This was for L0 and half. Now we'll be using it for all other symbols, right? At symbol not at 0 and half subframe, but all others. So you have to use this simple formula. Can somebody answer? Somebody has also calculated. Please calculate NCP and then finally TCP. Okay, I think you missed it. So just look at previous slide. That suppose this example. So here you have longer at 0 and at midpoint of subframe you have longer cyclic prefix compared to the normal cyclic prefix at all other symbols. Similar is the case for 30 kilohertz. Here you have longer, here and rest places you have same cyclic prefix. Is it clear now to you? Okay, so let me go to the same point. Yes, so now we are calculating this one at all other symbols, not at 0 and not at midpoint, but all other symbols. Can somebody calculate? Yeah. So Abhayji has rightly said it is 4.69 microsecond. So just see that our cyclic prefix is 5.2 microsecond and 4.69 microsecond. This is the longer one. This is the normal one in case of 15 kilohertz of carrier spacing. Let us do one more last calculation of 60 kilohertz, the extended cyclic prefix, right? So here just calculate NCP. It is very simple. 512 into 64 into 2 to the power 60 kilohertz means how much? 2. It is numerology 2. Mu is 2. 2 to the power minus 2. That means 1 by 4. So your NCP will be 812, and if you calculate TCP, it will be 4.17 microsecond. 4.17 microsecond. So this is your time for cyclic prefix. So now let's look at the table given in the specification. So these calculations are already done and it is available in the 3GPP specification. Just see. For all these numerologies, numerology 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, they have calculated CP for long duration. Long duration means at symbol 0 and symbol 7. In case of numerology 0, it is 5.2 microsecond, which we calculated. And at other symbol, it was 4.69 microsecond. All of you have calculated. Similar, if you try to calculate yourself, you can do it. We also calculated in case of a 60 kilohertz, we calculated only the extended cyclic prefix, which came to 4.17 microsecond. Please remember this. In case extended cyclic prefix is being used, there is no concept of normal and longer symbol. All cyclic prefix at all symbol points are 4.1 second, 1 microsecond only. So that's why at both places you find same value. But because it is already so long that it takes care of, right? Takes care of the requirement which we are talking about, that if it has to interwork with 4G or otherwise, uh, there will not be a problem because it is already so long, right? So for 120 and 240, so these are already available in the specification document. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have to, yeah. So you have to compare it with same numerology. So here you just see that it is 1 point. So your longer itself is, the longer one is 1.69 microsecond. Because why? Because the coverage, all characteristics are limited to that numerology only, no coverage and all. Fine. Shall we proceed? Okay. So now we will calculate the symbol duration. Do you recall that when we were looking at frame structure, for example, when we are looking at say 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing frame structure for that, so somebody asked a question why we are not calculating the symbol duration itself. We are calculating up to slot. So this was the complexity. I do not wanted to trouble you at that point of time. Otherwise, the main concept itself would go away. So in 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing, as we know that one slot is 1 millisecond, right? And in one slot, I have 14 symbols. So I could have just said that, okay, 1 millisecond divided by 14 is your symbol duration, and also includes CP plus symbol duration, I could have said. But as we see, the CP size is different. Some CPs are longer, some CPs are normal, and at 60 kilohertz we have extended. So that's why it was not simple at that point of time to just explain the symbol duration. Now we'll be calculating the symbol duration. So can some of you tell me how now with this knowledge I can calculate the symbol duration, say for 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing? Any idea how to calculate now symbol duration for 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing? It is pretty mathematical now because now we know the CP. Yeah, right, right. Yes, yes. Very right, very right. So let's do that calculation. So for your, I mean, convenience, I have brought the part of the table where we have the long symbol and also the other symbol duration. So as Soumya was explaining that from 1 millisecond, so I have 1 millisecond subframe where I have 14 slots. So let us first subtract the longer one, this and this. So twice of 5.2 microseconds. So 1 millisecond minus twice of 5.2 microsecond, and then also subtract all other. So please keep doing this. So that means minus 4.69 12 times, because rest of the symbols are 12 in number. 2 we have taken longer. So in fact what we are trying to do, 1 millisecond minus twice of 5.2 microsecond minus 12 times of 4.69 microsecond. Can somebody tell me what answer is coming? Samya ji? Okay. So just calculate. So it is 2 into long NCP, 12 into other NCP. So 2 into 5.2, 14 into 4.69. So your CP duration is this much, and then we will subtract from 1 millisecond. So total CP duration of one slot or one subframe in this case will be 66.68 microseconds. So if you subtract it from 1 millisecond, that is 1000 microsecond minus 66.68, you'll get 933.32. So Sakti ji has very rightly answered in the chat box. It is 933.32 microsecond. Now these are for symbols. So if we have 14 symbols, and all symbol sizes are constant here. Only CP size was variable. So if you just divide this by 14, you'll get the symbol duration. So can somebody calculate and tell me what is the symbol duration in case of 15 kilohertz subcarrier spacing? Just divide it by 14. Yes, very right. 66.67 microsecond. So this is how you can calculate the symbol duration. So you can do it for all numerology, all cases, right? So that is also given in the table, right, of the 3GPP specifications. What we did, we calculated for numerology 0. So we got it 66.67 microsecond as a total symbol duration, right? Sorry, the one symbol duration is 66.67, but the CP, the longer CP is this much and shorter CP is this much. So if you just calculate what is the overhead which is coming because of the CP, so it is 7.8% the longer one and 7% the normal one. Similarly, you can calculate for all the numerologies, right, in the same way. And just see here that your CP size is almost becoming half, right? Half, half. It is not exactly half, but it is becoming less, right? So your CP size is reducing because your symbol duration is also becoming half, right? Almost half. Just see. Our symbol duration is also becoming half. In the smaller symbol duration, I'm able to pack same number of bits depending upon the order of modulation which we are using. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's do a calculation that with this CP, whatever CP we have calculated, up to how much distance I can go and avoid intersymbol interference. So we can calculate the multi-path distance, which will be effective in the sense that ISI will not be there. So for 15 kilohertz, the CP size, I'm just taking a normal CP here. You can also take extended one, longer one. So 4.69 microsecond, right? So how to calculate the total distance covered? Can somebody tell me? Yes. Since we know the time, we also know speed of signal or light, which is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. You can just calculate the distance. So if you calculate that, I'm getting 1407 meters. So basically around 1.5 kilometer. So So a path distance up to 1.5 kilometer. Why I'm saying path distance? All because the signals are also reaching to the destination uh, after getting reflected from a building or any other object. So the up to a path distance of 1.4 kilometer, your ISI will be avoided. So you can just understand the coverage, broad coverage area which we can achieve, right? So if you calculate for all other numerologies, right? So you'll get like this. The first one we have calculated, all rest are like this. So if you go higher in the numerology, since your CP size is reduced almost half, so your, I mean, the maximum coverage possible is also in terms of CP planning is also coming. So just see, there was a question why CP size is less, because in higher numerology, higher frequency, we require lesser coverage, small cell deployment. So our CP size is variable in various numerology. So I hope this is clear. So we have actually understood the concept of timing unit and how it relates to cyclic prefix, symbol duration and all. So with this, this part we have completed, and the next part, I don't know whether you need break or we can continue. Just let me know in case we can continue, or you need 6 minute break. Bimla ji, shall I continue or a break? The next would be around 1 hour session, 1 hour or slightly more. Okay, let's have right 5 minutes break. Let's have 5 minutes break. So it is around 10:53. So maybe at 11. Let us meet at 11, right? Exact at 11. Thank you. Thank you.